Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's July 8th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And really straightforward day. It's been all downhill all day. We had a clear channel, two-tiered channel working down. We had a break. We got one leg down, a two-legged correction, and I'm looking for a measured move down to this point right here. We may not get it, but that's where my target that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm sorry. As soon as I try to get started, the phone starts ringing. Everybody knows that I'm usually through trading about now, so they all start looking for me. I apologize, but anyway, I'm looking for a possible measured leg down. Again, not sure if we're going to get it, but if you measure the first leg down, if we're going to get two legs down, we're looking at prices to come down to about 51 and 3/4 maybe. Uh, we'll see what happens. Looks like we may reverse out of here now. We may not get that. We'll just have to see. But that's what I would be shooting for if I was hanging on until we start making, unless we start making higher highs and higher lows. That's my target there. So quite a few trades. A couple of them I marked as a little aggressive. In a downtrend like this, um, you know, it was pretty obvious we had a good downtrend when we got below here and we were kept working lower. And so when you get a downtrend like this, you got to go, just stay to the short side. Don't be looking for any longs. Sure, there's some longs in here where you could have made some money, but you're better off just to stick with the shorts, try to catch a runner or two, and just hang on and follow the rules from there on out. I'm guessing there'll probably be quite a few people that got trapped long here, not paying attention that this is the first break of the trend line. And when you get a down, if this was a range type day, when you got this failed second entry short here, I'd be all over that to go long, most likely. But on a trend day, when everything's downhill, you're going to get a retest of that low. It's just the odds are so strong that you're going to get a retest of that low that it's not worth taking any longs until you get a confirmed trend in the other direction. And you had a little trend line or a little channel working up here. It's real obvious. It's real clear, and you can see it right there. You get the break, a couple of moves to a new high, and it traps people, and then it's all to the downside again. And you're just looking for reasons to get short all the way down through here. You got a little bit risky after this point because now you got a new low, and you could reverse out of there. Uh, so it's the only reason I didn't mark that one for a short, because you're getting, once you get past this point, you're getting away from the EMA and you're getting far away, and the odds are it's going to snap back, and it's not long till it does snap back. And notice too how you get above the EMA a few times, but you can still continue getting lower. That's a sign that it's waning a little bit, and we could end up, after this two-legged correction, we could end up with another leg all the way down like this and another channel. There's actually, if you play with this, there's probably something down through here. And you can see that fits pretty well right through there. So there may be another channel, and it may hold, but I do see a break of this channel and a new low. But I'm looking for maybe prices to come down to here and then bounce, and but we'll see what happens. So but just something to be aware of. This is definitely not the main channel, although you can't argue with what you see there. It's definitely holding prices and seems to be holding them fairly well there. So we'll go ahead and put that on there. But let's talk about the trades that I saw. And like I said, most of them are a sure thing. There's a couple of green ones in here, but even those trades, you could kind of go either way on them. So when you get a trend like this and you get any reason to get short, you generally have to take it. So, but the first trade I saw was right after the 7 o'clock hour. We got this moving down. It looks a little rangy here, but notice we're making, all the way down here, we're making lower lows and lower highs, except for that little spot right there. And then it pulls back, and it gives you a first entry short, and then it kind of comes inside and pulls back, and it tests that line again, and it gives you a second entry short right there. So I like that trade. I don't think you want to go short way down here because it could bounce. You don't really, it's not a strong trend. Yeah, we're trending down, but it's not really a strong trend yet. Uh, but there's some good evidence that, we're trending lower. And then you pull back here. And this is really like a double top, even though this low is a little bit lower than this one. This is basically a double or even a triple top there. And so you can count that like a new high. At least I did. First entry long, pull back, or even this you could count almost. And then I didn't really count that as a second entry long, even though it would be. But notice there's two clear legs there, and this one fails, and it's right off the EMA, right off the trend line. So I like that. It's a breakout pullback short. There were multiple reasons to like that entry right there. And what you probably want to do is use a limit order here, because that's not a very good signal bar, but it is kind of a trap. You could have just used a stop, but I'd say use a limit order because it's probably going to pull back a little bit. And it actually came back again and then went lower. I don't think you can go short right here, though. Then you get a little two-legged pullback. This is a second entry short, and it's off the lower side here now. And notice how it can't close back up in there. Now, you have to find these lines. If you don't see these lines, this is not so clear. But it's a second entry short, and you're looking for prices to at least come down to this line, and you got plenty of room there. Nice, easy scalp. And then it bounces. It comes back. This one is more like a little congestion, so it's not really a trend line coming up. It'd be more like some flat lines like so. Of course, they're minor. It's a little minor. It's congestion, but it's a little trading range. So we would trade this like trading range rules. The bias is definitely down. You get a little failed breakout of it. Just go short right there. You figure at the very least it'll break out the other side and then reverse, but it just keeps on going. And then again, you get a little trend working up on this one, and you get the break, the close outside, you move up, and you get a big bearish reversal. Second entry short right there. Notice the new low, pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry short, and this one, and everybody's seeing it now, and this one takes off. And then you get a little correction here. Notice if you draw your line up, you get a close outside, a retest, trying to get a new high. This was a second entry short, counting off the lows, first entry, pullback, second. It's not a perfect setup bar there. Let me make this a little bigger. You can see it didn't quite close on its low, but that could have ticked up or down, and on your chart it might have closed on. It's close enough. Just put a stop right there. And you figure you're going to get a new low. It's coming off the trend line too, so different reasons to go short right there. If you waited on this one, I would have waited on the break lower and then maybe put a limit order back there where you would have got filled on your stop here, and it would have filled it, and then it drops on down, and then it pulls back. And notice there's a new high here. First entry long, pull back, second entry long. So it's a failed second entry long. Just go short. Takes this one a few minutes to work on down, but it drops on down. And it was really tempting to go long here when this broke lower, but it's just too dangerous because it wouldn't have surprised me at all if this thing ticks up a few ticks and turns straight back down. So, once you get a trend this strong, yeah, there will be some counter trend trades, but just don't fool with them. Just, stay with the rules. You get your little trend working up. This is the first break of the bigger channel. You get a first entry, a pullback. You get a second entry right here. And it was really tempting to take that one. But I wanted to kind of wait and see what was going to happen. And if you took that one, if you had a one tick stop, you would have gotten stopped out. I usually use a two tick, especially on these smaller ones. And so you could have entered there, but the reason I don't like it is you got this leg up and you got a correction, and there's always a chance you'll get a measured leg up before it turns down, and we are above the EMA, so I thought it was better just to wait. And it was tempting to go short right there because you do have that trap right there. I don't have this line, but there's actually some resistance right across there. You can see that. and then you come back from underneath it and test it and turn down. Um, Actually, I was over here. I'm sorry. You you come up and you can't really actually get above it, and you come back from under it and you try to test it, but it can't even get back above this bar, and then it turns down. You get a real bearish bar, but I still think it's too early to go long because this is kind of congestion right here. Put the other side. And you can see there's just a little trading range right there, a little bit of congestion. So let's wait on a breakout pullback short, which comes right here. And then you get a failed second entry long, and look how that was trading way up here and it turned. So I like going short there. And then there is a little bit of overlap here. And when it tries to go higher again and turns down, you know you're going to get that new low. So I like going short there. And I don't think you want to go short here because now you've got the new low in. It turned out to be a really nice trade, but it's just too risky. And then draw your little trend line up. You get your move up. And this is kind of a this is a two measured legs up, and there's a second entry, and there was a little short trap, but again, I don't think, it was tempting. This one, if you did take this one, actually, I'm going to check. I went back and forth over this one. I'm going to actually make this one green, and the reason being is that green for a long, not a short. The reason being is that now you've got your break of your channel, you've got a new low. You've got a failed second entry short and a big reversal bar. So if it broke lower first, went out the top. So if you wanted to go long there, it's a little more aggressive because the trend has been all down, but you've met the requirements now to possibly go long. And so if you went long there, I'm okay with that one. And then you get the turn down right here. It's two measured legs up, so on the bigger picture, it's a second entry short. I like that one for that reason. I don't like going short here because there's a good chance you get trap low. You don't want to go long either, but then you get a second entry short and it's headed down again. And so now I'm looking for a measured leg similar to this one, or a measured leg like here. And if you measure this one and move it over, you get this, and let's just see. I never measured it the other way, but I think it's going to be real similar. Probably be exactly the same, matter of fact. Well, it comes up maybe a tick shorter. So I'd still be looking for something there. I don't think you want to go short on any of these down low because you see what's happening. It's bouncing. The buyers are starting to come in down here. We're getting down to an area where you're getting a lot of buying, and that's why this thing is kind of teetering off here, and it looks like the trend is trying to it's kind of losing momentum. Doesn't mean it can't pick it back up, but my target continues to be this until we start making higher highs and higher lows. And so that's what I saw today. Pretty, fairly straightforward, as I said. It got a little more convoluted once you got this break in the new low, because we could reverse out of here at any time because now we've met all the criteria for a correction. Now remember, a correction doesn't mean you get a reversal. A correction could mean you just go into a trading range that lasts, a correction that lasts about an hour, and that could just be a trading range. Or it could be a little move higher that suddenly sells off again. And you can see this is kind of rangy looking here. Let's go ahead and put it on here. I'm going to call that the lows for now. And your highs are probably right across there. And you can see that. So it looks like a trading range. We got a failed break out the top. We got a failed break out the bottom. And right now we're just kind of right in the middle of the range. Kind of what I call no man's land. But you can see this upper line still holding and turning down prices, so I would pay attention to that line until there's a reason not to any longer. But most of the comments on the website, very positive. I think most people saw this downtrend, and most people were having success. If you weren't, I mean, these kind of trends. We had one to the upside the other day, and now we've got one to the downside today. These type trends are generally as easy as it gets. And if you just follow the rules, it's hard to go wrong on a day like this. Don't sell, don't go short at the lows, and don't buy it all until the trend is over, and you just hardly can't make a mistake. I say that, and I said that last time, and then somebody sent me an email, and they felt really dumb because I guess they struggled that day. But until you get experience at this, it's easy to make mistakes. But if you just follow the rules, particularly on trend days, um, you can't hardly mess it up. Just don't go short at the lows. Make sure you go short on all the corrections. And if you draw your short-term trend lines, it really helps. And I always tell people that. People will send me their chart, and sometimes they draw them, and sometimes they don't. And and but they have a harder time getting it right. And I got a couple of charts today. Here's one I got. This gentleman sent me his chart, and he told me basically in his email, he said, I've only been following you for a very short period. Um, am I getting it right? And look, and you can see he's short. He has all the same trades I have marked all the way down. And so he's getting it. And this is somebody that just started this. So um, great job. That's all I can say with that. I mean, great job. Maybe he marked them after the fact. I don't know. But at least he's seeing it after the fact. And once you begin to see it after the fact, it gets easier to see it. It gets easier to see it in real time. So he did a very good job. He has the channel correctly. He actually saw the little fading channel that's still working down here. He may not have it drawn exactly like I drew it, but he's got it coming down here, so he sees that. And I noticed he did make an attempt here at his short-term channel. And this is probably right. I drew the even shorter term one than that. If you look at my chart, I drew the real short-term one. No, that was right here. And they're breaking a new high. And he drew it a little bit differently than I did. Not going to say this is not correct, but you want to know when the move is over, and it's a little bit more difficult to tell with this one. It didn't quite get back to the highs here, so there's some clues, and you got the trap to the upside. So there's still some clues there. But again, even on mine, notice that I didn't take a trade until here. He didn't actually take one until the failed second entry long, so he did even smarter things. So very good job. That's all I can say on that one. Especially for somebody new. And sometimes I will say this, sometimes traders that come in that are new, that don't have any, that haven't learned all the wrong things and learned, I mean, I've said this before, and you'll hear me say it again probably, but there are so many things in the trading world, these rules and ideas that are considered gospel because they're parroted so many times by so many people that everybody just assume they're correct and they're right, and they couldn't be farther from the truth. And I just cringe when I hear people. So sometimes when traders have never been exposed to that and they come in and the first thing they learn is our stuff, it makes it much easier for them because they're not hung up on all these rules that they hear people post. I mean, if you're swing trading, you got to be careful with your risk reward. You really probably couldn't do what we do, trade with putting your stop above or below the signal bar and then trying to, having to stop. Basically what I'm saying is, there's a rule that I read all the time in trading that says your stop can't be bigger than your target. Well, that may be true on a swing trading, but when what we're doing is we're only trying to get 4 ticks, your stop can be bigger than your target, and you can still have success. I don't care what anybody says, you can. Of course, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to be very good at reading the price action. But the idea is that just the fact that we're going for only 4 ticks, if you're reading the price action right and you're staying with the trend or the current move at least, the odds are on your side that you're going to get 4 ticks before you go 2 ticks. But people get confused by that too, because we're not always using 4 ticks. If I'm entering short right here, my stop is only going 2 ticks above these highs. So that might only be at 1 point, or that might be 5 ticks or 6 ticks. It's very rare that I probably have a full, especially like this one right here. Look at this entry right here. You enter 1 tick below that, so your stop goes at 56.75, and if you're above this high, then at 1 tick it's 58, and at 2 ticks it's 58.25. So 56.75 to 58.25, what is that? Is that right? 56.75 to 58.25. So you don't always have 2 points is basically what I'm trying to say. And just because, I mean, that's our maximum that we want to take is 2 points. So if you can't get in it with 2 points, you got to either try to sneak in with a limit order a little higher, or you got to skip the trade. So that's part of our rules. But the fact that, anybody that says you can't have a stop that's larger than your target and be successful, well, they don't understand what we're doing. So I'll leave it at that. And I'm sorry, my phone just ringing off the hook. So everybody and their brother wants to talk to me today, it seems. But anyway, I wanted to show, there was one other chart I wanted to show. And this was somebody that also said they had a great day, had a lot of success today. And you can see they had the same thing. They had the channel. They don't have the midline in there, but they see the trend line. They see things working off the EMA. She even saw this break here and waited on the right time to enter. She didn't trust this second entry short because I wasn't sure we hadn't already had a trend line and retest. But that's common. It's hard. You got to learn to trust this stuff sometimes, because and even when you trust it and you do it, sometimes you're wrong. So it's just part of the equation, and sometimes people have a hard time understanding that, with success, you get scared of having a loss, but you're always going to have losses. They'll get fewer and far between, and you'll probably have fewer losses. If you get really good at this, you'll have fewer losses than you might even expect, but you're still going to have losing trades. I still have losing trades. Everybody has losing trades, but the key is you don't let it affect you. You just say, okay, I messed up that time, I misread it, or I misunderstood what was going on, and it doesn't get you upset, it doesn't shake you, it doesn't rattle you, and you just go back to trading again like it never happened, because it's part of the job. It's part of our job description. You're going to have losing trades, and just like a winner, you don't get that casino high that when you have a win. It's just part, that's part of my job. I expect to win if I'm going to make any money, and I don't get excited about it, so I don't let it get me all. Your emotions, it almost has to get to the point where it's boring. When it starts to get boring for you, that's probably a good sign that you're getting close. As long as you're still feeling those emotional highs and lows when you're trading, you still got work to do, because if you're emotional, you're going to make more mistakes. And it doesn't mean you can't still make money, but you're probably not going to do as well if you still have those emotional feelings. And so you want to get to the point where it's boring and it's just a job. And I know that takes the fun out of it, but if you really want to make money, that's where you're headed, and that's where you got to get to be, because if you don't, you're going to continue to struggle. So, but anyway, she sees each of these. Look at it, nice second entry short, nice second entry short, nice second entry short. She saw all three of them. Nice second entry short. On her chart, it looks better than it did on mine. Actually, the second entry short was here. She waited too, for whatever reason. I didn't trust this second entry short because I wasn't sure we hadn't already had a break and retest. So it doesn't matter. It could that may be what she's thinking in her head, but her experience may be telling her, hey, we got a break here. Let's just wait and make sure that we're going lower again before we go short. And that was exactly what I was thinking. If you go back to my chart, right here, notice I didn't mark a short till way down here. I wanted to be sure that we were working shorter before, I decided to get short because we were working higher here, and so we're making higher highs and higher lows. It's most likely a correction, but I'm going to be sure before I risk my money, especially after I've already had a good day coming down. I already pretty much made my day. I want to make sure that if I take another trade, I'm doing the right thing. And so you just sit tight and wait, and then you get a breakout pullback short. It's still not a perfect setup, so you might have even waited on this one. But by this time, I liked it to the short side, and it's following my little channel down. It closed right inside it, so. And it's actually a breakout pullback short, not only from here, but this little level too. Notice we went below that and pulled back. So, and there's actually one leg, a correction, second leg. So it's you could also, on a smaller scale, this is a failed second entry long. So you got that going for you too. So very good by both of those traders. And thanks for sharing your chart with us. And hopefully it was helpful to other people as well. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. Great day, and you can see we're still going higher here. We got two measured legs up now. We may not reach my target, but this is just a correction again. So once we've corrected for about an hour, and I would say we've been correcting for since 10:30 to it's a little over an hour now. Doesn't mean we're going to start down again, but we could start a whole new trend to the downside, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me if we just didn't run down and test this level and correct either, because that was my target originally. But now that we've got our correction out of the way, this what you see here is good enough to fit our rules that we've had our correction, and we could just start to the downside again and start a whole new trend for that matter. So trade accordingly. For now, I would say the shorter term, I would have had that and a break and a new high. There was a failed second entry short there too, but there might be something bigger going on here, like so. So you got to be aware of that too. Normally, I wouldn't be that concerned with that happening, but the fact that we've had our correction, a break and a new low and some failed breaks lower, we could just rally on out of here. We'll just have to see. So follow the price action, follow the rules, and that's the key is forcing yourself to follow the rules and not trying to go long until you've got a clear reason to go long. And I still don't really see one yet. Maybe right here if you want to be aggressive, but at this point I don't see any reason to go long yet. We got a little failed break higher here out of this little trading range, and it could shoot right back down again. It could hold up here as support and continue higher, but we got to see. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hope you had a good trading day. I enjoy these kind of days when you got an easy trend, and it's again, if you just follow the rules, it's hard to mess these days up. Doesn't mean you can't, and don't get discouraged if you did. It just means you got a lot of work to do. And this stuff is not easy. It gets easier as you start to get it, but it takes a while for some people, especially if you've learned all the wrong things previously. So I want to throw that out there again. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.